Yeah, I'll tell you, Mike, one guy that really interests me is Jeremy Grant. I look at him and I see him just getting bigger, and stronger, and longer, and taller, and a guy who works really, really hard at his trade. And he could be a guy that turns into a long-time NBA player. And his immediate help on this team could be this year. I mean, if you throw him out there with some shooters and obviously with the big guys that you have, he could be a pretty good perimeter defender. He's 6'9", long. So anyway, he's a guy that I'm really watching during this summer league. And then there's, obviously the point guard position is so unknown right now with the Sixers that T.J. McConnell, they're going to throw Jordan McRae in there a little bit, but I don't really see him manning that position all that well. You're going to have to see if somebody steps up to the point guard position and maybe warrants an invite back to training camp in September.
Yeah, obviously, and you mentioned Grant. Now, he was a guy that got a lot of run at the end of last year. He was a second-round pick, and you mentioned bigger, stronger. Is he a guy that you think is fighting for a roster spot, or do you think he's a guy that they really envision being a part of the rotation?
I think he's fighting for a starting spot.
Wow.
I really do. I think, that 3 position is up for grabs out there, and I think he might be a guy that takes it. Defensively, they really, really like him. And there's a lot to like. Offensively, he's kind of a junk guy where he'll pick up some things, loose balls, get out on the break, things like that. But he's really impressive with his athleticism at 6'9", the length of him. He's just somebody that I'm really intrigued by. I'm not going out and saying, he's an all-star by any means, but he's somebody that really turns my eye when he's on the floor.
Bob Cooney, Philadelphia Daily News, Sixers Summer League tonight. Okafor, obviously, most people are going to be paying attention to him. In the limited time you guys have been around him, what are you learning about him?
Yeah, it just seems to have a quiet confidence about him, not arrogant, nothing like that. People tweet me and email me all the time, is he happy to be here? He's fine. He's absolutely fine. He's in the NBA, and that was his lifelong dream since he was, a tiny, tiny kid. So he's where he wants to be. He's excited for this next chapter in his life. I know the team is excited to have him. It's funny, Mike, when I talk to players that have just played with him for a little bit, the T.J. McConnells, the Jordan McRae, you ask them what he's like inside, and they just shake their head, and they say he is dominant. He's really, really good. And he's not going against many NBA talented players right now, but they really, really like what he's about so far.
A lot of people talk about the diminishing role of the big man, and then I see this offseason, Aldridge and DeAndre Jordan, basically every guy that signed was big man around the league, and you wonder, is Jahlil Okafor the kind of guy who can I don't want to say transcend, but change the style of play where you have to, change back to, hey, the Sixers do this, and we have to do something to defend them because they're so good at it.
Yeah, it's funny, the Golden State Warriors go out and win an NBA championship with perimeter play, and now all of a sudden the big man is a thing of the past. And I wrote about that the other day, how silly it is. Just think back 3 summers ago when the Sixers got Andrew Bynum before all the injuries, before when you thought he was the player that he had been in Los Angeles, and with visions of him leading this team, people thought that the Sixers were now a contender for the NBA championship. So I still think it's a big man's league. I don't question that at all. Does Brett Brown like pace? Does he like to run? Absolutely. But guess what? They also did that in San Antonio when David Robinson left. Instead of just dumping the ball down to Timmy Duncan, they sprinkled three-point shooters. They learned how to run. They passed the ball extremely well. So those will be some of the same kind of principles that they're going to look to incorporate here, too.
What kind of sense you get from Brett Brown having these big men? I mean, a lot of people said, well, they don't fit. How are they going to work them? You get a chance to talk to the coach. Do you see a little twinkle in his eye? Do you see some concern? Or what kind of feeling do you get from Coach when asked about how he's going to make this work?
Yeah, there really hasn't been much talking with him since the draft. He's kind of been putting other people have been out in the forefront, which is the way he wants it. Billy Lang is coaching this team in the summer league, and Lloyd Pierce will do so out in Las Vegas. But just knowing Brett the way that I do and having talked with him so many times, give him good players and he'll make it work. And it sure brings a twinkle to his eye. All he wants to do is coach NBA players, and he certainly has one in Jahlil Okafor. He certainly has one if Joel Embiid's healthy, the progression of Nerlens Noel, there's some light there. And then he'll take anybody you throw at him. Whether it's his 10-year-old kid's AAU team, you throw anybody at him, he'll coach them, and he'll coach them right, and he'll make it work. And then that's what he said all along, and I truly believe that's how he feels.
Yeah, and he got a couple other toys this past week with Nick Stauskas, Carl Landry, and Jason Thompson. That'll be official on the 9th. But I had heard, there was that Grantland documentary about the Sixers. They tried to get a trade for Stauskas on draft night where they offered to flip-flop picks in 2-2s. They ended up getting this a year later, so I guess it was worth the wait. But how do you now view this Sixer team after this trade?
Yeah, like I said, I think there's just a little bit more light. You have now Stauskas hasn't proven anything in the NBA. We can't kid ourselves. But he did come out of college, and I was at the Combine where he was, and I talked to everybody about him. And the Doug McDermott's of the world and this guy Joe Harris from Virginia, the three of them were pretty much the best shooters there. And the other two guys just said they can't even compete with Stauskas. That's how good of a shooter he is. So it hasn't correlated yet to the NBA, but he had a rough rookie season. 3 head coaches, the Methodist, the Sacramento Kings. Maybe he comes here, gets a fresh start, 6'6". He does do some other things besides shoot. He's good off the dribble. He likes a little spin move after he takes one dribble to the lane. He's a very good layup shooter. People think that sounds silly, but a good layup shooter to me is a guy that can keep his concentration after getting hit and still get the ball off, and then a lot of times get 3-point plays. It's not just a negated drive to the basket. It often winds up with 2 points. So he can do some different things. Whether that correlates to the league, we'll see. It would be easier to see how he's going to do if they had a point guard next to him, but that doesn't seem to be in the mix right now. And the other two guys, when you get veterans and decent veterans and good people on your roster, on a roster that's just filled with a bunch of 19, 20, 21-year-olds who don't know the league at all, that can't do anything but help. And I think Landry and Jason Thompson can be those guys.
Excuse me, Bobby. Yeah, it's interesting because I guess some people, does this kind of signify to you the first step for Sam Hinkie of saying, all right, we want to be competitive, we're done with tanking?
I don't know about that, and I don't, I only say this because this is the way Sam Hinkie would say it. It was never about so much that there's a time frame on tanking and now it's time to win. His whole MO was, we have to strip this down and we have to build it up. And I'm speaking the way he would speak, and he would say that it's always about getting the best talent that's out there and getting the best team put together, however long it takes, and being contenders for a long amount of time. Now, I don't think he went into this draft and said, okay, it's time to turn this around and we start winning, or we have to make a trade in order to start winning. I honestly don't think that's what he's about. If he saw something that would work, that would help this team, I think he would go for it. I think Jahlil Okafor sell to them. I think it'll work. I think, they're going to try to make it work out somehow. Do I think maybe they wanted D'Angelo Russell a little more? Perhaps. Perhaps that would have been a better fit. But I don't know that there's a timetable, Mike, in his head like, okay, now's the time. I just think it's an accumulation, and when it comes together, it comes together.
So, a lot of people talk about the plan or, where they are. Was that something that they just found a team at a weak moment? Was this something they've been kind of looking for, a team that, just waiting to prey on a team that a weak spot? Is this luck involved in this whole incident? What do you make of the timing of how this happened and when it happened?
With the Sacramento trade, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a little bit of all of that. Luck, skill, having yourself in a position that you're able to do that. There's not many teams that can take on salary that other teams want to unload. And when other teams want to do that and have to do that, well, you kind of have them by the throat. And that's exactly what the Sixers did, what Sam Hinkie did. I thought it was a very, very good move. How it plays out on the floor, I don't know. Will Nick Stauskas turn out to be a good pro? I don't know. Will those picks in 16 and 17, will they flip-flop? Who knows? I don't know what's going to finally happen with Sacramento. But, on the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's a good move because it just shows the flexibility that this team had and where Sam Hinkie's gotten them where they can do these kind of deals. There's not many teams in the NBA that could have pulled off what the Sixers pulled up last week.
That's true, and you wonder, are they done? Are they at a spot now where another team is at a weakness? Are the Sixers ready to kind of swoop in on another team if the right opportunity exists?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, and Sam Hinkie sees something that he can do, and he thinks it makes the team better moving forward. Absolutely. There's still a glaring hole at the point guard spot, so it would be silly that he's not looking somewhere for that. Obviously, you have holes all over the place. Your front court is formidable and looks to be kind of set, but you still don't have very many shooters. You still could. Not only do you need a starting point guard, you need some backups there also. So there's still holes to fill. His whole thing is, I'll just bring in as many good players as I can, and we'll let it play out, and that can only make the team better. That's his thinking.
Bob Cooney's with us from the Philadelphia Daily News. The Sixers tonight at 7 o'clock. They have their Utah Summer League, Jahlil Okafor, Furkan Aldemir, Jeremy Grant, T.J. McConnell, and Jordan McRae. That's the starting five. One guy who's not there is Nerlens Noel. Was there hope to see him play? Would you have liked to see him play? He could have played. I guess he elected not to, but would you have liked to see him get some action?
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded, only because they drafted Okafor, and it would be interesting to see him on the floor with Okafor, just to see how that may play out. But Brett Brown was very adamant at the end of the season, that early. He said that Nerlens wasn't going to play Summer League. He had played enough during the regular season, and he felt he kind of needed the rest, and I can't disagree with him on that one. We were told Nerlens was going to be out here in Utah. He was going to be out in Phoenix. He may be. I haven't seen him. We were with the team this morning after a shoot-around. I haven't seen him around. That doesn't mean he's not here. I don't know. I was told he was probably going to work out with the team. Another thing you hit on earlier, Mike, about Stauskas, he won't play in the Las Vegas Summer League because that's what I was told, because the invitees for that Summer League are working out right now. This week, while one group is here in Utah, the other group is back in Philly working out, getting ready for Las Vegas. South just can't do that he can't do anything, like you said, until the 9th. So I was told he will not play in Las Vegas either.
All right. Last guy is Embiid, obviously. We saw this video kind of over the weekend of him. He doesn't have anything on his foot. He's kind of walking around. What is the feeling now, about a month after they made that, that sent that email out and made that announcement about him? Is there any change, any different feeling about him?
I'm waiting. Like everybody else. We saw him in the hallway the other day when we're doing our interviews. He came behind. He's joking with the players. He's in a great mood. He stands next to Jahlil Okafor, and it's unbelievable how much bigger he is than Okafor. And Okafor is a big, big kid. So he looks great. His body looks really good. Like you said, no boot. He's walking without a limp. He was taking some shots, from behind the backboard, nothing major. I would anticipate, I keep putting this back and back, but I thought we would get word before we came out here to Utah, an update on Joel Embiid, but we didn't get it. I'm hoping that before we leave Utah, that maybe we'll get word, but I don't know. I know he was supposed to see another doctor last week. Whether results of that have come back or not, or they're satisfied, I don't know, but my hope is that within the next couple of days, Sixers fans will get word on the progress of Joel Embiid.
Very good. Bob Cooney, a couple days of basketball out in Vegas. That's a nice spot to get a couple off-season days for you, huh?
I'll tell you what. It's funny. Utah here is beautiful, absolutely beautiful out here. I am not a Las Vegas guy, and I know many people, many of your listeners are cringing at that. I don't gamble. I'm not a show guy, so I kind of just – I go watch. I get up. I do a little workout. I'll go watch 6 or 7 basketball games, eat dinner, go to bed, and do it all over again.
That's a day right there, though. I'll take that day. Utah, great.
I'll take it any day. I'll take it any day. I could sit and watch basketball all day long.
I can do the same. Bob Cooney in Utah. He'll be in Vegas as well with the Sixers as they get ready for their Summer League. Okafor, by the way, will not play in Vegas, only in Utah. So make sure you get a chance to watch him tonight. Is that true?
That might not be true. What we were told was that McConnell and Okafor are traveling to Las Vegas with the plans that they're going to play there.
Oh, okay.
Now, yeah, I wouldn't anticipate that he's going to play every game, and I wouldn't anticipate that, but he is definitely set to go to Las Vegas and is expected to play.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the roster they sent us last week, he was not on that, but I guess they did say that there were going to be some changes.
I think they sent a correction after that, saying that yeah, he and McConnell will also travel to Vegas.
All right, Bob Cooney from the Philadelphia Daily News. All right, enjoy the trip, Bob.
Mike, always a pleasure. Thanks, buddy.